What do you do anyway?
I'm a writer, I guess.
Yes, don't you know?
You get 2 sheets every Saturday. You put the clean sheet in the top sheet in the bottom sheet you turn in the laundry boy. Any man turns in the wrong sheet spends the night in the box. Which no one will sit in the bunks with dirty pants on. Any man with dirty pants on sitting on the bunk spends the night in the box. Any man don't bring back his empty pop bottle spends the night in the box. Any man loud talking spends the night in the box.
Time for Full Court Press with Connor. He has hot takes from In the Paint, tough picks from the top of the key, and the best scoops on the NBA from downtown.
I like that liner coming to this. I think almost all the Minnesota sports teams need to be put in a box. Put them in a box. Put them in a box now. Put them in a box. I got him, Connor, Full Court Press. Con, thanks for coming in. This is, well, just talk Vikings quick. I know we're going to talk NBA, but I know you watched the game. I don't know. Since possibly one of my son's 6th grade football games, have I seen a half of football as ugly as the second half of that Minnesota game. I literally put in the only thing we could hope for with like 10 minutes ago. If we can get positive yards on offense, a positive yard, we got to 4. Your thoughts quick on your Minnesota Vikings.
Unfortunately, it feels like the JJ experiment may be coming to a very swift end if something doesn't change quickly.
Okay, and we've had this, you haven't, I have, this conversation about JJ. He's 6 games in. He's the youngest quarterback in the league. Maybe he's going to be good, maybe he's not. I have no idea. But I don't see how KOC and what's the Kwame, the general manager, can get rid of this kid. First off, all you got is that guy from Minnesota, right, as your backup. What, are you going to throw him in there just for funsies' sake? You think you're going to win? No. I think KOC's job hinges on JJ. He's the quarterback whisperer. We traded up to get this guy. This was going to be our year. Now, it's not going to be our year. We're never getting anywhere. But if they bail on him now, doesn't it prove both those two absolutely don't know what in the world they're talking about?
Yeah, I suppose that's probably true. And at this point, I think you're right. I don't think we're playing for the wild card. At this point, the season's probably done. And so maybe you just look to, get him experience and have him come back and have a big sophomore year. But I don't know. Sometimes he looks unbelievably talented, and sometimes he looks like he barely got through high school football.
And we had Darnold. Darnold's having a killer season. We had him. Who's the other guy before him? We had guys we didn't want to pay, and we all thought the ghost whisperer, the quarterback whisperer, would pull this off. I'm not ready to jump on him because there's other guys. What about that number 4, that punt return guy? How much has he crushed us? Price, yeah. How much has he cost us? Okay, you're not going to field that one. Get out of the way. That's what they teach you in Pee Wee games. And he runs over to make some sort of block or something, gets hit. I mean, the stupidity is off the charts. Now, you can fumble the ball, and I'm not even blaming him for that 2 weeks ago, but now look what he's cost us in the last 2 weeks. No one's calling for his head, but JJ, I just feel sorry for the kid. Anyway, I don't want to talk. We're here for the NBA guy. Now, before we go to as we do East and West, the Minnesota, you tell me, when we were like the Western Conference Finals, right, last 2 years, how do we have this easiest schedule? How in God's green earth do we take on Sacramento, Utah, Dallas, Washington, and now we play Sacramento? I mean, it's like, and then we got New Orleans coming up into. Is everybody playing everybody in this league, or do they have the? How is that possible? We're playing this many crap teams.
I think largely it's randomized, and you just
end
up getting. Yeah, okay. I think largely it's randomized. You play everybody in your division, all those kinds of things. But yeah, I think largely it's just luck of the draw.
Well, we have gotten lucky because here we are. We've won all 10 games against sub-500 teams. Okay, good for you. They almost lost that one in Washington, but okay, fine. And we have Sacramento tonight. I'm not saying if watch it, we should win. But, Connor, this team has got a mental problem playing good teams. I don't know where you were at this weekend. I watched the Phoenix game, and literally I was all excited because it would be up. It was a good ball game, up 10, down 10. I mean, these guys were going back and forth. And then you get to the end. Minnesota's up 8 points with 50 seconds to go, as late as all get out. I'm like, I'm just turning it off. Thank God we beat a team that was a plus 500, but I didn't. I was like, well, wait a minute, turnover. Now it's only 6 points. Oh, 3-pointer. Now we lost the ball game. The last 9 points in 50 seconds. This team mentally, I don't know how they come back. I don't know where they're at. We have not won a team with above 500 record all year.
I got in some hot water this weekend because I said I think it's time to move on from Finch.
Oh, see, I wonder if it's. You think it's Finch?
I think that the fact that you haven't figured out how to get your young team to stop turning the ball over and making mental mistakes Obviously, the front office thinks that you've got all the talent you need. They're not making any trades. They're not really moving anybody around the last 2-3 seasons. Cat obviously left, but he wanted out. I think
that is a take.
I think that they're, Denver dropped their head coach after they won the championship. So if you want to be team, that's to be one of the top teams, you need to demand the top. And you've been in the Western Conference Finals twice, but then you kind of slog your way through the regular season. I don't know. The turnovers have been better this year so far. We're middle of the pack instead of dead last. But then you watch the end of that game, and they handed 2 or 3 turnovers. Just literally handed the ball into the other team.
They have one guy, Engels. His whole job is to come in once every couple 3 games at the end to throw the ball in because he's really tall. We can't do something with that spot on the roster. I'm sorry. Anyway. You have McDaniels. You have Edwards. You have Randall, who's absolutely having a stellar year. That's 3.
I look at our roster versus Oklahoma City's roster, and I think we're better. We should be better than Oklahoma City in their whatever it is,
17-1. And they're coming up. They're coming up on us. We're playing. You tell me we got a better roster. You putting your money on Minnesota or Oklahoma City?
You gonna trade Ant for Shea, or you gonna trade Randall for Chet Holmgren? I mean, they pretty much fall off after that.
I'd give you flipping Gobert for Chet Holmgren in a heartbeat, and I'll throw you $100 million. I think Gobert's nothing but a big, tall guy. Anyway.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even put Gobert in that conversation. I think Gobert is probably our 4th best player, and I don't know who their 4th best player is, and they win the championship. I mean, there's no reason that we aren't the young, exciting team with a guy that can score 35 points a game. That should be Ant. I don't know what we're doing wrong.
It is. I'm not the Finch call. That's interesting because how do you get a team to the Western Conference Finals twice, then you lose your job?
But
it's because you can't win.
Culture do that. That's what. Happens. I mean, Golden State made it to the Western Conference. They got rid of their guy. Got Steve Kerr. Denver. Literally, he either won the championship. Can't remember that. Was it Mike Budenholzer? They fired him out of nowhere. Everyone couldn't believe it. Well, we're here to win championships, and what do you know? They have. So I don't know. I mean, there's something to be said about either get it straight or get out of town.
All right. Let's go down the Eastern Conference. I did not see the Detroit Pistons being as good as Detroit is, 14-2. What changed with them? And the Toronto Raptors? Come on.
Yeah, this is the fun thing about the NBA. It tends to be the league that has the most kind of upward mobility, if you will, as it relates to really, really bad teams, and then all of a sudden they rocket up to the top. Cade Cunningham, who's the first overall pick, he's developed into being a stud. He's got a couple of great players around him. Jalen Duren has turned into a really good big man. They're playing scrappy ball, and not necessarily incredible at anything other than they're playing pretty good defense. Toronto's one that really surprised me because they haven't really done that much in terms of drafting and things. Brandon Ingram's playing well. RJ Barrett's playing well. And they're just playing really, really good offensively.
I was going to say they're averaging like 121 points a game. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, top 5 in points, assists, turnovers. They're not throwing the ball away. So they're just playing really good team basketball. It's interesting to see basically 2 teams that have been the worst teams for 5 years now at the very top of their conference, especially considering Boston, Milwaukee, Indiana. I mean, that one's kind of obvious, but the clear favorites in that conference for the last 10 years are at the bottom. So again, that's the interesting thing about the NBA, and the reason I like the free agency in the NBA more than any other sport. 1 or 2 moves around the league, 1 or 2 injuries can completely change the entire makeup of a season.
Well, the injuries, that's the Pacer deal. But the Bucks, is Giannis just mentally out and he wants out and he wants to go somewhere? Is that just that team is just mentally?
I think at this point, he's probably going to be on his way out. I mean, he's actually playing really well, over 30 points a game, and he's leading him in every single statistical category, including field goal percentage. I think that he's probably going to be on his way out. I still am kind of holding on to the hope for myself and for the league that he finds his way to his Xbox buddy, Stephen Curry in the Bay.
Yeah, you would love that. And don't give me this field goal percentage as a decent stat. Rudy Gobert leads the Minnesota Timberwolves with field goal percentage at 76. He doesn't shoot anything outside 1 foot from the basket. It should be really close to a Hondo. Somebody might block something someday, but that should be at a Hondo, and he's getting field percentage. I don't want to hear about it. Okay, anything on that side that you want to bring up on the East? Otherwise, we'll talk the West after the break.
Not really. I think at this point, Cleveland is clearly the favorite to come out of the East, even though they're in third. I think that they're obviously the team to watch there.
Fair enough. We'll go to break. We'll come back after this. I've got him. Full Court Press with Connor. We'll talk the Western Conference right after this.
Tired of one-sided media and divisive noise drowning out your conservative values? Take back the conversation with Braver Angels. Join a grassroots movement to restore civility and find common ground without compromising your principles. As a conservative, your voice matters. Share your perspective on issues like immigration and public health in Red Blue workshops and help rebuild trust in our great nation. Be a leader in depolarizing America. Sign up for free at mn.braverangels.org. Braver Angels, where conservatives, liberals, and independents unite for a stronger republic.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts." But in a world full of AI and fake news, where can Minnesotans find the facts? Center of the American Experiment is Minnesota's go-to source for fact-based analysis and common sense solutions for taxes, energy, public safety, and our kids' education. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
Amongst friends, the Al Travis Show. Nothing but talk.
I've got him, Connor, in here with Full Court Press. We actually now basically be about a fifth of the way through the season, right? A couple more games, we'll hit a quarter of the way through. Fifth of the way through the season, especially in the West, you can see the haves and the have-nots, right? I'm sorry, New Orleans, Sacramento, even Dallas. Do you see anything that tells you there's even a glimmer of hope in the bottom end of this? You're shaking your head.
No. I think that the only team that I think potentially could figure something out is the Clippers, but they're so injured and beat up that I don't think that that's likely at all. I think the the bottom of the league, especially the bottom of the West, never really has a chance to come up for breath. In that side of the league.
Yeah, because on the other side, again, back to 1/5 of the way through the season, Oklahoma City, by far and away, I'm sorry, best team in basketball, both sides. Come on, really? I'd take OKC any day over anybody in the East. Tell me how wrong I am. They're 17-1.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Oklahoma City, and again, this is why I'm becoming more and more frustrated with Minnesota, specifically Finch and the coaching staff, and apparently the culture there. Oklahoma City is not all that great at much of anything other than they don't turn the ball over and they steal the ball a lot. They are first in steals and second in turnovers per game, meaning they turn the ball over the second least in the league, and they steal the ball more than anyone else. You got a great scorer and MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he's scoring 32 a game. There's like 5 guys scoring 30 points a game, and no one is 17-1 or close. Yeah. It comes down to very, very, very disciplined approach. Now they're not bad at defense. They're not bad at offense. They rebound.
Not bad at even. Let me throw this out if I can, Connor.
They're not the top in the league at anything other than turnover ratio.
But there's something to the defense that they play, and turnovers will be a part of that, right? Their opponent's points per game, 105.7, the lowest in all of basketball, and I'm just 10 points. If you're going to have your team is going to keep that much pressure on another team, you're going to win a lot of ball games. 10 points is a lot in basketball, and that's on your defense. Points for, how much they can score is about the same as others. That points against is amazing.
Again, you possess the ball about 5 times, 6 times, more than the average team in the league because you don't turn the ball over. And then you possess the ball another 5 to 7 times more because you take the ball away at such a extreme clip. They take away the ball 11 times a game, which in an NBA game, 12 to 14 turnovers is pretty average. But that's exactly it. And then you wonder why the teams can barely break 100. They don't have enough shots. I mean, that's just the reality. It definitely comes down to the defense. It's just interesting to see a team that's able to be disciplined on both sides of that turnover conversation.
And you throw them out, they've had some injuries. But then you look at the next set, and this is what I'm talking about. I love Los Angeles. They're doing well. Denver's doing well. Houston and San Antonio when they got Wemby. Those 4 teams, I'd love to watch any of them play anytime, especially against each other. How cool a matchup are those 4?
Yep. I mean, you cannot speak enough about how bad the trade was for Dallas with Luka going to LA. Nico, the GM in Dallas, now fired. Probably will not find another job, would be my guess. And also just the most classic LA Lakers, LA team in general, to pick up the second best player in the world to kind of have those last year or two of LeBron, who's now averaging 14 points a game or something like that.
Yeah.
To have him come in and possibly be able to win another championship with LeBron doing nothing. It's just the most classic LA, Los Angeles sports team thing ever. But I mean, Denver and Houston, obviously Phoenix is right there with Houston, San Antonio.
Yeah.
And it's funny that Kevin Durant had to leave Phoenix because that wasn't working, and now they're playing better than they ever have. And so is Houston. I think, that those top teams, again, different teams than we've seen over the last couple of years other than Oklahoma City and Denver.
But Golden State is just a game or 2 away from being in that same mix. I don't, they get themselves right. I'm telling you, I'm sorry about Minnesota. I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm going to. They will beat a team that has a positive record at some point, but we're 5th of the way through the season and we haven't figured that out. I don't see us moving up this ranking. I see us going down. Now we can beat Portland and Memphis, but tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, again, we've found a way, or we've had the ability the last 2 seasons to be very, very frustrating and disappointing and frankly kind of vanilla throughout the regular seasons and then find our way to the Western Conference Finals. I think overachieving in both seasons, but it's nothing is lost with an Anthony Edwards that plays in the playoffs the way he does. But that being said, if you want to actually get into that top echelon of teams that are seriously considered to be championship contenders, you can't have those type of regular season, the best teams, obviously Oklahoma City's lost 1, but you don't have them losing to, New Orleans on a given night. That isn't how they beat New Orleans by 40. That's how a actual championship contending team plays in the regular season, the intensity they get used to for the playoffs.
You're a big Golden State Warrior fan. You always have been since I've known you. Do they need a Kevin Durant or what's his name, the Greek Freak, to come over here to make them relevant again before Curry's gone?
Yeah, they do. I mean, Jimmy Butler gave him a boost kind of when he got traded last season. Draymond Green's a shell of himself. The supporting cast isn't really there, and they're all getting old. Steph's still playing at a really high level, but you can only do that for so long.
All right, fair enough. Connor, we are out of time. Sometimes you give us a game to watch for the week. You got anything going on this week you care to highlight?
Tonight, you got to check out Cleveland and Toronto. Apparently, Toronto is a relevant Eastern Conference team. Cleveland plays them tonight, and then Houston and Phoenix. two of those teams at the top there, and then Minnesota, of course, playing Sacramento. Hopefully, it makes you feel good watching.
I am not staying up that late to watch us beat another team that's just crap. But I will be watching the game when we take on Oklahoma City because you'll see the difference. I think glaringly so. Connor, I appreciate you being here. Always a pleasure. I thank you for coming on. Have yourself a good Thanksgiving.
See you next time, Al.
All right, you bet.
Thanksgiving.